Hello and welcome everyone.
It's an absolute pleasure to be back here in the World Bank.
Hi everyone.
Excellencies, friends.
Thank you for having me.
I'm enormously grateful to have been invited to join you for this year's annual meetings.
In this time of upheaval, the question in front of the development community is, what should we do to avoid a lost decade and boost growth that's both inclusive and sustainable?
We want to reduce by 51% all our greenhouse emissions by 2030.
The other barrier to economic growth for low-income countries is unsustainable high levels of debt. Again, they cannot really finance their programs.
Ang dami pong hadlang, hindi na din po ako nakapagtrabaho noon kasi wala pong sasakyan. Hindi po ako makapag-commute, walang transportation.
We believe that trade can really be a powerful catalyst and force for growth and socioeconomic development and poverty reduction.
Countries which were better integrated in the world market, as well as being participants of the global value chain, recovered much more quickly.
Where there are places that private capital can play, it's important for us to step in and play a role.
My vision for a successful climate action is where the movement is led by the community, by the young people, but is supported by the government, by the donors, everyone in the society.
Now let's take a look at the latest data.
And those 3 lines need to go to zero. So how do we make that happen?
Now look how that increase was mirrored by a fall in extreme poverty over the same period.
New World Bank data released today also shows that the external debt owed by low-income countries rose to a record $860 billion in 2020.
Welcome to Ending the Pandemic, the road to an inclusive recovery. I'm Becky Anderson, live from CNN's Broadcasting Hub.
It's very disappointing that it's taking so long for the world to really commit.
There's a 2-track rebound. Those countries that have been able to implement strong fiscal stimulus, accommodative monetary policy, as well as access to vaccines, who are rebounding very well, and those without access and who have very little fiscal space lagging behind.
With global threats now surpassing those we saw in the Second World War, we simply must seize the current window of opportunity to reimagine our global systems.
The multilateral development banks, as this group knows better than anyone, play a leading role here. They help emerging economies prioritize climate investments.
Climate is really affecting all our lives. And so we need to think not in an isolated way about climate. You need to think more globally. And what we have been saying is, let's look at this comprehensively. And first, we want to understand the drivers of this well, but not in isolation, but in relation to development.
We need to effectively double spending investment on energy infrastructure for decades. So we're talking an extra $2.5 trillion of investment in energy infrastructure alone.
Big question ahead, big challenge is moving forward to make sure that the COVID crisis doesn't morph into a financial crisis. Such a negative outcome would be a big headwind to a green inclusive recovery, which is what we all want.
The challenge for us has been to secure supply, because Africa made the mistake of ceding manufacturing of vaccines to other regions of the world. And this is the thing that we have to fix, that vaccines must be manufactured on the African soil.
I'm a big fan of blockchain.
I think blockchain in trade financing will make a big difference for a lot of countries. Why? Because people, when they want to finance trade in remote markets that they don't know very well, they're not sure that things will be going the way they are used to. So I think blockchain will secure the transaction at every step and make it much more secure and give much more confidence of banks to invest in trade financing.
How do we prepare for future possible health emergencies? You find that a regional response is better because you can quickly be able to share data, you can quickly be able to share experts, you can quickly be able to share resources.
We also need to suck carbon pollution back out of the atmosphere. We have to both reduce emissions and capture carbon. And if we do, Earth will come back into balance.
These efforts require leaders to be ambitious for the prosperity of people, and they require focus and scale throughout our development work.
I want you to hear young people's voices on how we can create a more sustainable future together.
In the future, more international trade will allow me to expand my business across Africa.
Our strength truly lies in our human capital.
What we need is more accessibility to education.
Getting vaccinated means I get to protect myself and my family.
Means we can have these streets full of tourists again.
Show us what real action looks like.